the Deshaun Watson saga still ongoing to this point. And we start with major news coming out from this, major development, that being the Houston Texans, who were named in the lawsuit as well from Tony Buzbee, have now settled claims with 30 Deshaun Watson accusers, that according to Amy Dash earlier today, and was confirmed by Tony Buzbee as well as the Texans. And Amy Dash also had this tweet as well as a statement from the Houston Texans saying that they take a clear stand against any form of sexual assault and misconduct, and they claim that they had no knowledge of alleged misconduct. Now, that's important to remember that in the in the story that had come out, it had been alleged that the Texans had not only helped to set up, but also handed out the NDAs regarding certain accusers in that case as well. Now, also, Tony Buzbee had his statement that you guys can go ahead and see here on Ian Rappaport's Twitter. And Buzbee went on to say that today, all of the women who have made or intended to make claims against the Houston Texans organization have resolved their claims. The terms of the settlement, to include the amounts paid each, are confidential, and I will have no further comment on the allegation or the Texans' alleged role, other than to say that there is a marked contrast in the way that the Texans address those allegations and the way in which Watson's team has done so. As has previously been reported, only one of the 30 women who has made allegations against the Texans filed a formal lawsuit, excuse me. That particular lawsuit will be dismissed with prejudice as soon as the appropriate settlement paperwork is complete. So in order to break all of this down, we welcome in Garrett Bush of the Barbershop from 92.3 The Fan. And, G. Bush, I look at this as that next in line regarding the Deshaun Watson saga to this point. Obviously, it was a revelation that the Texans were brought into this, but seemingly pretty quickly are trying to find themselves out when it comes to that settlement, these settlements coming down today.
Yeah, the Texans look like they want no parts of it. It looks like what they did is said, look, all right, what is our exposure here? We don't want to be in the limelight. The season's coming up. We're looking around. We got, the Deshaun Watson stuff. He's with another team right now. We got, Davis Mills. We're wanting to move on, and we want to do our stuff right now. And I think one of the things that they don't want to get into at this present moment is dragging this thing out throughout the season. They said, let's go ahead and sit down, figure out what a price is. And it just goes to show you also that sometimes in companies and business, and when you talk about civil law rather than criminal law, in the civil court of public opinion, and the way civil law works, you look at that and say, okay, well, it doesn't really mean I'm admitting guilt here, but as a company, I would like to get this past me. I would like to get this thing over and done with. Now, the question is, will the NFL take a look at this? Will the NFL be taking a look at this from a standpoint of, okay, there were some allegations, you paid a lawsuit. Now do we have to dig in a little bit and figure out exactly what culpability did they have with Deshaun Watson, with the NDAs, and did they play a role in it? And the NFL will have to look and see whether or not the Texans are going to have to serve any sort of punishment. But I think one of the things that happened is, and Buzbee kind of says it, you could tell the difference between what it was with the NFL and what it was with Deshaun Watson. NFL owners and organizations do not like to be in the news like this. Deshaun Watson still has 4 cases that are going to, pretty much end up going to trial in the spring, hopefully. So those 4 are still hanging there. But as far as the Texans are concerned, from their point of view, they'll handle the lawsuits in all 30 of the cases. And now they're waiting to figure out what they're going to do with the NFL. But obviously they wanted to get this thing out of the way and does not want to have this thing hanging out over the length of the next couple of weeks right before training camp.
Well, G. Bush, the other side of this as well is that, again, that number of accusers, 30. Because, again, we've seen the 24, obviously, that had been the number for the longest time, or at least as of late, but Watson obviously settled with 20 of those. There's still these 6 that are in limbo. What do you make when it comes to, those 6 that haven't quite filed that lawsuit against Watson to this point when you see that number come in with the 30 accusers that they settled with?
I think what they wanted to do, and this is, and I don't want to speculate. Generally speaking, when you talk about 30 of these individuals, obviously the amounts aren't going to be disclosed. But when you make a settlement this quickly, it shows that it's not a groundbreaking $5, $6, $10 million settlement. You know, they got in front of the thing and says, what can we do to make it go away? Here's the level that we have here. I would say the number that I'm more concerned about, or the number that I would look at, is what the NFL brought to the table in Deshaun Watson's initial hearing with Sue Robinson. They concentrated on 12 individuals. Out of those 12 individuals, they narrowed it down to 5 that they wanted to present. So what that tells me is there's something that was in the story, something that was inconsistent, something that wouldn't make a really good case in terms of finding Deshaun Watson to being liable for whatever's going on that happened in those massage rooms. So then you're at 5. The NFL moved off of one of them, and now it's down to 4. So there's 4 individuals that are still that they did present to Judge Sue Robinson, which still leaves 8 individuals that they found something wrong with their testimony and didn't feel it would present their case in the best light. So I would say when you do settle, and when you do settle with individuals, there's a level of speculation because these terms won't be disclosed. But there's a level of speculation as to how much it is and what type of settlement they received. In my thought process, I look at it in terms of the 4 people that are still left that Deshaun Watson has to account for. And when we're talking about it, accounting for in going to civil court next spring, those 4 individuals have the strongest cases. Those are the people that Busby is really looking to drive the price up. And if Deshaun Watson wanted to settle between now and whenever those trials came about, I think the number that Deshaun is comfortable with settling is very far away from what Busby wants to get for those 4 people that they're going back to trial with, because he thinks he has a much stronger case to get that adjudicated and to win a larger claim.